this is Sally Wood for Be Inspired, and today I'm actually at an office working, so you're going to have to bear with me today. Today's project is these chairs. As you can see, the chair behind me, the seam has absolutely ripped. The other three aren't so bad, so I'm going to fix those and I'll tell you how I'm doing it as I go along. So let's get on with it.
If you've got tacks like this, just lift the tacks up carefully because you're going to be putting them back. Then lay them out in an order that you'll remember, because you want them to go back in exactly the same spots that they've just come out of. So top, middle, and then these two. Now the client chose velvet ribbon because it's got texture and so does the chair, and there's a little bit of movement in it. And all I'm going to do is fold the ribbon in half like that and follow the seam down and pin it on the outside arc. And as it goes to the next piece, continue pinning. And very carefully slide the top of the ribbon into place, like that. If you don't, you're going to have to just fold the ribbon over and sew it across the top so that it doesn't pull out. I'm not going to put the top down just yet, I'm going to start sewing. I put a piece of fabric under here. What I've done is I've sewn this side on here, and I'm going to have to sew this side on. The trouble is there's really nothing that I'm stitching against, which is really irritating because the seam has given where the original stitching of the seam was. I think what I'll do is I'll stitch across like that. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do it this way. I'm going across and under to the row of stitches there, and then across to here and under and across into the fabric here. It's the only way I can think of doing it. But even here the fabric is giving. Unfortunately, this sometimes happens with these seams. What should have happened was they put the seam in and then they should have top stitched it just to hold it really firm. But they didn't. And I think this is working because this is an office chair, so they really can't have office chairs looking really bad. And then just ease it in here like this. Unfortunately, there's such a weakness on this one. It wasn't the same on the other three seams because they were still joined. That's why you put another fabric underneath so you can sew against it, and that should give you the strength that you need for your project. But you don't want to pull it in too tight. You don't want to overstitch it in. You want the seams to be level. A little bit of the fabric comes through there. I don't know how long this is going to last. I really don't. There we go. You see, I've just pulled it all in. This is a little bit open. I'm going to go all the way down here and do the same thing. Just about ½ inch either side of this. Now at the bottom there's not much I can do about it because it is really quite open. I'm worried that my stitching is going to give anyway, but I'll still stitch it in and pull it in as well as I can. I'd much rather be pulled into a job like this way before this actually happens to the chair. But I don't think these ladies knew that it could be mended, so they've just let it go. Basically, I'm just overstitching now. This is where the seat cushion goes. Worst of it is up here, but even pulling it in slightly down here will benefit. I'm not pulling it in so it's too knobbly, because otherwise that will wear the ribbon out. Just enough that it pulls in a little bit. So I'm loosening it up a little bit because I really don't want to pull it in any further than it is. The second row of stitching is not going to do any harm on this, and I'm going over, out from there and across. Putting it into the good fabric, here's where the bad fabric is, so here's where the good fabric is. It should be going all through the lining fabric underneath because I've caught that into place. I can't go too far over because of where the ribbon is going to go. I don't want my stitches to show, and under here it doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to do its job. Fold the ribbon in half and line it up with the original stitching and pin both sides. There we go. I'm going to try to make that as smooth as I possibly can because I don't want it looking wonky. Just bring that all the way into the bottom here. I've given quite a bit of ribbon at the base, so I'm going to just roll that up and pop that underneath like that. And I did that so that it wouldn't just pop out at the bottom. Now I've pinned the inside in as well. It just needs to be absolutely secure both sides. Now I've got my thread. I actually doubled it, and I'm going to just pop my stitch in as low as I can, which isn't very low, and across and into the ribbon like that. I'm going to go out to the side of the ribbon. These are really big stitches down here, and that really doesn't matter because nobody's going to see them. Then come in a little bit closer to the edge. You don't want to be right on the edge, because if you're right on the edge your ribbon could pull apart and to the edge like that, and then back in, and do the stitches as small as you possibly can. At the bottom they're about 1/2 inch, and you take them out to the side and in, all the way up. I was really worried about this side of it anyway because it was so trashed, but you can make your stitches about 1/4 inch from each other. That's even better. The closer they are, the better. But you have to go up to the outside and then in. This is a velvet one, so it kind of hides your stitches. If you don't have velvet, then you're just going to have to be really careful how you do it. We chose this because it was the closest colour that they could get, so I'm going to do that all the way up, as close to it as possible. You don't want to cause the sides of the ribbon to blow out. Just over an 8, maybe 3 millimeters in from the outside edge, and then out to the side. Really simple. Once you've gone up one side and cast off, start going up the other side. Here again, I can't go all the way to the bottom. I have to come in a little bit at the top here. I'm just going to go into the ribbon at little ways and up. I have to go in at an angle at the bottom because it is really awkward to get to. And once I get a little way up, I can actually alter the way I do my stitching. You want it to be as close to the ribbon as you possibly can get it when you come out underneath. Once you get so far, go in at right angles from where your stitch on the outside and then up, so that if you've got a weave on your ribbon, that you can see that you're following the way the weave goes. With this, it just makes it easier to hide the stitches with the velvet, so just bear that in mind. Keep your stitches tight, and as you get higher you can get them closer together. When they're really low, it's a little bit awkward. Then put your tacks back into the same holes that they came out of. It makes life a lot easier. They've gone in equally. Make sure the pile is going down like everything else. Thank you for joining me on this project. I hope you've learned something. It's really a stopgap, so if you have to do this repair, do it early, not late. If you leave it too late, it might be that you have to repair it a few times. If you want to see more of me, please subscribe, hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up would be brilliant. And in the meantime, take care. See you later. Ciao.